We have obviously spoken to Rob and Bradley Gravitt in the past. We've spoken to Ryan Falconbridge. We've spoken to Michael Crease, Alex Neville, and Ollie Jackson. So our guest this evening is very much at the forefront of the TOCA package news this week, as she's about to become the first woman to drive in the British Touring Car Championship since 2007. So that's obviously very exciting news. Very exciting news for everyone, not least for her, of course. And it is, of course, Jade Edwards. So we're just going to see if we can get her onto Instagram. Just going to get going while I invite her onto these two. And we are up and running on Facebook and Twitter. Evening, Jade.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
Not bad, thank you. Very good. I'm at Thruxton, so I'm in the truck, so it's a bit of a different scenery today, but yeah, all good.
Slightly different. Okay, great. Can I just ask you to join on to the Instagram live thing?
Yeah.
And that should
ask a request.
And that should. Wait 1 second. I'll just go back. And there we go. I'm going to send it across to you, and that should be us up and running very shortly.
There we go.
And there we are. There we are. We are live on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whole world. Not quite the whole world, but you know what I mean. So, how are you? Obviously, it's been a bit of a mad week. Have you calmed down a bit from last week?
I've not really had a chance to stop, if I'm honest. It got announced a week ago or so, just over a week, I think, and it has been non-stop ever since. Obviously, most people that follow touring cars will see the post go out from TMR or from BTCC themselves, but as it gets announced, obviously it kind of snowballs, and I'm still getting requests now for, can you do an interview here, or can you chat to us here? And it's absolutely brilliant. It's exactly what I wanted it to do, but I find it hard to keep my timetable at the moment, but for a very good reason.
No, I can imagine. Yeah, we've obviously managed to grab you just in time. So, yeah, it looks like you're going to be very much in demand. But no, absolutely fantastic news. Congratulations. First woman in 13 years in the touring car. So, and obviously well done to Power Max Racing for getting you on board as well, which was excellent.
Absolutely, and I've known Adam and the guys from Power Max for a couple of years now. We actually supported by 2018 Cup season, putting a small amount of sponsorship. It was actually posted a picture on my Instagram yesterday on my story, and it's got a little Power Max logo on my visor. So I've known the guys there for a few seasons, and it just fell into our hands, and this deal came together, and now we're going to go racing.
Oh, fantastic! No, can't wait to see it. And we just heard that Rob Austin's got in front of you today, so that's yeah. You have to try and one up.
Yeah, I mean, Rob is a very good driver, very fast, very raw. I think Thruxton was built for someone like Rob, so it was a no-brainer for the team to put someone like him in for this weekend. For me, Thruxton is one of, if not my favourite circuit of the calendar, but I'm not shy to say that obviously it's a very intense circuit to maybe drive a racing car for the first time ever. As much as I love the track, we opted for the Silverstone just because Thruxton is something where you need to really know your car, and which was aware of the layout and the bumps and the apexes and the curves and everything like that. I don't know the car, so there's a risk to kind of race at Thruxton here. But Rob is a great driver and someone that will hopefully look after the car and hand it over to me in one piece in a week's time.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I'm sure he will. He's been away for a couple of years, but definitely a favourite with a lot of people. So yeah, great to see him back. As you say, hopefully the car's still usable when he's finished. I'm sure it is. Obviously, we know you're a little bit pressed for time. You've got things to do this evening with Mr. Crease and Mr. Cook, apparently. So that's absolutely fine. We're going to have a run through a few things.
Those guys are always hanging around at the moment. Obviously, I've got a lot to learn in a short space of time. They're my two closest touring car drivers at present, so I'm just going to learn as much of those guys. And obviously, Adam Morgan as well, he sort of helps me. Jake Hills with a little bit of help or advice whenever I need it. So the guys are behind me, but I'm using this weekend to be in the total paddock to kind of do my work, social media that I do already, but to learn a bit plan ahead of next weekend. So a little bit pressed for time tonight, but happy to back to everyone and glad to see so many people involved.
Yeah, got a few people involved. As expected, so thank everyone for tuning in. Just quickly, you mentioned about social media and things. One of the questions that's come up a couple of times, and is when you're not racing cars, people have been asking what you do, because obviously you're involved with motorsport pretty much all the time.
Yeah, so for me, I've had that question quite a lot this week because people, outside of the paddock or outside of the obviously don't realise what racing drivers or whatever do Monday to Friday. So basically, it's the same for most drivers out there, is that it's so hard to get a 9 to 5 job because, as you know, I'm here at the event on Thursday. So, it's Thursday through Sunday, and then Monday you're absolutely trusted. So it's hard to get a 9 to 5 job. So what I started doing when I was 17 or 18, I started working as a driver coach at Brand Tap, MSC, any Red Bull Day stuff. I slowly worked my way up and worked hard, and I now work proudly for McLaren Automotive. So we take supercars around mainly Europe, we venture out to Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, America, Texas, sort of stuff. So we take the supercars, owners' cars or our own, and we teach people how to drive a McLaren around the circuit. So I coach for McLaren Automotive, and I am to this day the only female to have ever been employed as a driver coach for that brand, which is obviously a pretty cool thing. And aside from that, I work for Formula One. So there's hospitality, and I guess one of those people that's in the hospitality suite with them. It's when they do activities outside of that building, and they do paddock tours, cars, that sort of stuff. I'm the one that's the most knowledge behind their day out, and I take people another aspect of Formula One where they can get up close and personal. So my three main kind of things to keep me busy is racing myself, automotive and after years of work is not
No, that's pretty impressive. I think everyone watching, even those who aren't, would probably love to be in that shit. That's very cool. Very, very cool. Obviously, motorsport is life. And obviously we've spoken to a few other drivers from the minis and the BTCC, and they've said about their different routes into motorsport, whether it's from karting since they were 3.5 years old, or whether it was someone like Ollie who actually started in caterings when he was 20-ish. You've come from a motorsport family, so I guess it's been in the blood for forever.
Yeah, so I went to my first race track 2 weeks old. So I was actually born on a race weekend. My dad wasn't competing at the time of that race weekend, but he went to the hospital, watched me be born, and then he scarpered back off to the race. And my mum actually drove us on the same day, which is almost unheard of these days, I think. But we've grown up in that kind of get it done kind of family. There's no kind of whinging, and mum just cracked on, and I was the second child, so they'd been there and done that already. And then he won the championship that year for Renault 5 Turbo. So I was 2 weeks old. I literally haven't stopped since then. I've still got people now that will recognise me or say, "Oh, I remember you when you were young." I don't necessarily know who they are, but they've watched me grow up over years in this industry, and it became second home to me, and it's really growing up because you have roaming around the paddock and getting to know everyone, but your parents and your family felt that you were safe because there's obviously fairly big boundaries around the edge of the track, so it's kind of better both ways. Being in that environment, to have a conversation with older generations, younger generation, it's just a mix of people in the paddock, kind of basic social skills that maybe a few times I missed a couple of days at school, and events were on, and I was following my dad. Okay, I wasn't English and science, social skills and life skills. I was learning at race trips at a young age. So yeah, it's definitely a home from home being in a race paddock.
Excellent. Not a bad second time to have again. Not too bad. Just see a question pop up on the Instagram feed. This is one that we were going to kind of touch on later on, but why not? Let's do it now. Mark Adam Covington. Your question is this is a $1 million question. Are you going to be in the BTCC full time next season?
Yeah. That's the aim, and that's the dream. We're kind of using Silverstone as much as it's a tick in a box of a childhood dream. It's also trying to put me on that platform to lure in any sponsors or supporters of next year, so that we can make it a full-time program. I've not made it unaware that I've got a lot on my plate next weekend, a lot to learn, a lot to take in, and to try and achieve enough in one weekend is going to be tough. So all I've got to do is kind of prove my worth, and hopefully it leads on to bigger, better things. But yeah, a full program in 2021 is definitely, what we're aiming for.
Well, fingers crossed. From the reaction last week, I think everyone will see that. That'll be like obviously, we've got into racing from a very early age. So you know how much of works around the TOCA package. Something that's come up, and again, a young lad that we're doing some backing for. He's sent in the question: what advice would you give to young drivers with regard to securing backing, investment? I don't like to use the word, but that kind of thing of someone who who's a young man and BTCC is where he wants to be. Are there any little pearls of wisdom you can give to him as he goes forward?
Yeah, I think for me it's learning your own, it sounds weird, but learning your own personality, your own unique selling point. So obviously results on track are a huge thing, and you've got to be able to hold your own and be competitive. But a lot of motorsport these days is done off track, to do with business and, like you say, with getting support and financial sponsorship and partnership and things like that. So for me, I've kind of built a foundation with being a bit of a character in the paddock and being fun but professional. And obviously I came up with the 9-9 scheme, entry-level sponsorship. And we've just got to try and think outside the box, and I know that there's a lot of karters out there and a lot of drivers that go down the mainstream route of, just putting something up on Facebook and saying, sponsor me. People aren't going to just go, I'll give you a sticker on the car. Unless you know them and there's a bit of a background, then okay. But companies aren't looking on Facebook for a Facebook post. You've got to think outside the box. Although my sponsorship is predominantly found on social media, it didn't happen overnight. I've actually, like I said, I've been in this paddock since I was 10 years old. So it's networking. It's constantly networking and going to seminars and going to sport shows and just talking and going to race events. And half the opportunities that I've had, I just placed myself in the right position. I couldn't drive in this paddock. I worked in it. Which is what I'm doing this season. Is I couldn't race. I couldn't afford to race this year, so I now work for my family team, Assetto Motorsport, doing some social media for the drivers and generally helping out. But it means Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm in front of the right people that want to be around. So you just got to find your own personality. Don't copy anyone else. Don't try and be anyone else. Just be yourself and work with that, really.
No, sounds kind of like it's similar kind of approach to what Michael Crease does, isn't it? He just makes himself big and bold and
and that's we both think in that same way. It's like we need to go racing with sponsorship. We don't have the money ourselves to fund that, and I haven't. Crease has won championships and that's brilliant. So he has got some great results. but results don't get you drive. So we both worked out that by being a character and being a personality, you're following, and then a following creates your sharing of posts and things like that. And I thank the fans and the supporters of British touring cars and my own one, because I put a post out that maybe I'm looking for sponsorship or I'm looking for sales or merchandise or whatever. And without those people sharing my post, liking, commenting, it doesn't get the numbers that normally it would. And so it's down to them. Is why I've done 3 seasons of Clio's, really, is because of those guys pushing everything that I'm promoting. But like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to network constantly, you have to be happy and friendly. And sometimes when you're having a bad weekend, the last thing you want to do is smile at people, but you do it how I do it.
Yeah, no, excellent. No, that's the power of social media, isn't it? It's big stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
You're saying about being around the paddock. I'm going to touch on that in a moment. But a great question to come up. I believe this is obviously one of the members of the Jeff Army. If people don't follow them, you really should. They're a good bunch. Jade, if you get a full season next year, what dance do you want the Jeffs and Jeffettes to dance to?
That's a good question, actually. I've got a guilty pleasure with TikTok at the moment. I don't really broadcast that everywhere because it's probably not for my age group, but I sit there and I watch TikToks all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to answer too quickly because I really want to think about this, but I'm going to watch a few TikTok videos and see what we can achieve. I say I'm going to make them do it. I'm not going to do it for sure. But I actually saw Thruxton. Did I see him or did I see a video? I think I saw a video of him doing a half-car slide or something at Thruxton a couple of years ago. And like you say, they're a complete bunch of nutters, but they are entertaining. And I have to say they are missed this season because they're a perfect group of people that are fans of the sport, and they kind of live in the mood and they're happy. They know when to not tackle you. They know when to step back and just kind of let you crack on with your own stuff. So, as fans go, the Jeff Army are absolutely brilliant. But I tell you when I don't miss them is when I finally circuit when there's no queue, I'm like, yes, no Jeff Army to hold up it, make it home. Yeah, all good. I love this guy.
Yeah, well, it's just popped up. We can dance the night away. There you go. That's it. They're bang up for it. Your game. Let's go back to the paddock subject. This is something that I sort of loathe to bring up, but there's the obvious gender issue. Well, it's not really an issue. I suppose it is in some areas, but it's a very male-dominated world that you're in. Have you had any experiences where people sort of look down at you or don't take you seriously or think you're not who you are because of the gender that you happen to be?
Whether that's a gender thing or they just don't like me, I'm not sure. I will never lay on the gender card, and I'm sure that any other female driver I respect and they respect me know that that's not really what we do. We support females in the sport and we promote them, but we don't use it as an excuse. And my tagline that I always say to people is that being a female is my unique point, but not my excuse. So I use it to get different areas of promotion and I am promotion and marketing. And so there's been a couple of times my favourite reference with KPM and which is see him out in touring cars and I actually lived with him as a housemate for 4 years. So to race with him in touring cars together next weekend is going to be unbelievable. But we were doing a race remembrance, which is Anglesey in November each year, and it was one of the first years they did it. And I turned up, go to sign on, and they hand Tom a pen. And they hand Tom a sign-on sheet and they're like, okay, no, I mean that. And I said, oh, can I have a sign-on sheet, please? And look at me and just hand me. And then I stand there like, oh, can I have a pen? And this guy went, what for? Went, to colour it in. What do you filled out my signing on sheet? We were all giggling. I found it funny. And then I actually on pole for the race. With me driving. Tom was the teammate, and we had another guy, Paul White, as well. Who was there. So our car was on pole, but it was my lap because I think the session was flying, and it was my lap to put it on pole. My team manager actually went into the office again and pointed to the time screen and just said, "Sorry, can you just read that name out on the screen there?" And the guy went quite red and he said, "I'm really sorry, I didn't realise, I'm stupid for assuming that she wasn't driving and everything." So we had a laugh about it, but I think he learned a lesson that there was you who was driving, who wasn't. And I can imagine that that's the same for people with disability as well, not just females. It's just assumptions of people, it's stereotypes. So when someone wheels in a wheelchair and asks for a signing on sheet, they're just as capable of driving a race car as a male full ability and a female full ability. So I think what I'm trying to do is not directly do it towards female, it's just stereotypes in general. Let's just accept everyone from doing whatever they want to do. So there's been the odd time, but nothing too sinister, that's for sure.
No, good. It's, yes, I think attitudes are changing as well, which is great.
Absolutely.
Been an issue in the past, but that's the best way to prove people wrong. I look at a woman and says, "Oh, is she going to be as quick as someone else?" But just go out there and prove that you are. Simple as that.
Yeah, and I think that's the point is that you don't need to shout about it on social media. I have this sense of motorsport. It's not hard for everyone in motorsport. If you're good at what you do, you're always going to respect. There's aspects of the motorsport industry that are hard, but not just for females. They're hard for everyone. So yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of times where contact or there's been that, and you sort of, I wonder if it was a bit of a new thing for why they've been in contact with me, but day to day, and levels of, whenever I have any issues, and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to be done, but it's fun for everyone.
No, excellent, great. No, so looking forward to it. It's going to be good fun. It's going to be good to watch. Right, where are we? Just again on that point, what are your thoughts on the W Series? Because this seems to sort of divide opinion, and a lot of people that I speak to happen to be male, and everyone seems to think that it's a fantastic way for women to go racing. Obviously, your friend Abby, she's. She was going to do it this year, and it's a great way for people to go racing. But is there another side to it that is sort of maybe creates a bit more separation?
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I suppose.
Yeah, for me, I personally don't agree with the segregation as such. And W Series contacted me when it was their first series and said, "Look, are you interested in doing it?" And for me, I still had the Clear Cup program going on, and the dream was doing touring cars. I didn't want to distract myself from going to the and do W Series. But for me, I can't praise them enough for giving females racing to do. Sarah Moore, Alice Powell, Abby Newton, now Jeff Hawkins, all these girls that weren't going racing until W Series came along, and that I can only say to make it great publicity, and they actually produced a brilliant championship. Like I say, for me, I don't agree with the segregation. I never have. I probably never will. But a lot of things that they do is very positive, and if it gives my friends and my peers and everyone else information that they maybe didn't have before, then I'm all for it and go for it. And I, for one, want to see Abby and Alex and Sarah brilliantly next season when it comes back.
Yeah. It's certainly a great time to watch, and I'm sure it will continue to be, to get strength even more out there.
Absolutely.
We shall see. Back to the touring cars, obviously. Ollie Waggett, he loves rallying. Have you ever considered giving it a go? Rallying?
So rallying, I'm a bit fearful of trees and cliff edges because I'm a bit of a fiery driver, and I drive through the seat of my pants, if that to stay in. And so sometimes it's a bit of ragged edge. So I worry about cliff edges and trees because from those incidents, but rally path is unbelievable. I love rally path so much all the time. With my friends, I've done rally path in the past. I've loved so entertaining. It's something like rally path. The movement in the car, driving in the vehicle, is something I absolutely would love to do. I'm driving these cars, the speed they do on the it terrifies the life out of me, to be honest. It's great. Same with motorbike riders. I've always wanted a motorbike and I would love to have one, but I just think I need to do it later in life when, if it all goes wrong, I've actually ticked a few boxes before that happens. I'm honestly, I injured myself on a blooming scooter at the end of last year, so I'm a bit stupid with that sort of stuff. So yeah, I would give it a go, but maybe not for a few years until I've achieved some other things before.
Yeah, it's probably wise. I went to watch the British Superbikes at Silverstone last year, and they were like thumping around Woodcote, and I thought, what? They're just wired differently.
I posted a different breed of human, and there was a clip, and there was a guy, I don't know, I think it was one of the top guys, I don't want to do the wrong name, they were this far from a brick wall, and they were leant over, and they were doing high speeds, and I just thought, there is no way someone like you or I or one of the other drivers, but then you put the crash helmet on and you see that bloke down the road doing the same thing, and you think, he can do it, I can do it. So I sit here now and go, I couldn't do it, but I bet if you got me on a bike, I'd be flat out trying to do my best. So yeah, I'll give it a go, to be honest, because I love adrenaline, I kind of hate adrenaline.
Yeah, and we're only here once, so why not? Yeah, absolutely. Just looking at just go back to BTCC. You had a test with Motorbase. This has come up. We've had a few messages saying, how did that come about, and was it close to being a full season deal or a few race deal or anything, or was it just a test?
So, at the time, on the day, it was just a test. It came about through, I actually did a social media post sticking up for Nick Hamilton. I think the grief that he gets on social media is absolutely disgusting. He gets a load of grief, whether it's financial grief, publicity grief, what he does out on track. So I spoke for him last year, and my uncle's actually got cerebral palsy, a slightly worse version than Nick. So my uncle's in a wheelchair and he can't speak properly and all that sort of stuff. So that sort of disability is very close to home for me. So I spoke up and I did a Facebook post and it went down very well. And that's kind of how I first spoke to David Bartram. And he thanked me for the post and he for it. And it was only a grand last race of last year where he stopped. He was driving his car around and he stopped. And I went, do you want yellow or black car? And I went, not bothered. He went, okay, see you at Snet. And I thought, what is all this? And basically, it was the touring car test. And whether it came from Nick's post that I did, or whether it came from him seeing my troubles throughout the year and persevering, or whatever it was, he offered me a test. And obviously from that day, it was always trying to get a season out of it. And we were talking to them, and we did get some costs and running costs and things like that. But unfortunately, we couldn't turn it into reality. But I do believe that the opportunities I've had in touring cars so far have stemmed from that test with them. It kind of put me on that radar of touring cars, and the press release that went out that day was, I think, the second most press release of all of 2019. That was including DTM and World TCR and stuff like that. So there's a huge following with me in touring cars, or females in touring cars, whatever it is. So yeah, I can't thank David and Motorbase enough for that first initial opportunity, and now here I am about to do my first race weekend in British touring cars. So it's been brilliant.
No, fantastic, excellent. It's just good to show that again. If you make some right noises, then you can get into into where you want to be. And just to go back to the thing about Nick Hamilton, especially, obviously spoke to Ollie Jackson, who was his teammate last year. He was saying that, just for him to be able to get into a car and go racing is amazing. And he doesn't get any help from his brother. And then he was saying he's correct. Nick's got some pace in him, and this is only his 4th year of racing, and it's his 2nd year in the BTCC.
Yeah, so, let's take if we take away completely the financials of Nick, none of us will know 100% of what his brother does or doesn't do. From my understanding, his brother doesn't really do anything. So we'll scrap that and we'll just talk about his disability. Now, if I've obviously raced with him in Clio Cup, if you take a second to in his car and see the controls he has to, and the way that he's driving, and the way that he's hindered with his posture and how his feet sit, you would only respect what he does. And so that's why I really despise the comments on social media for him, because no one knows his story, no one knows him, no one's seen the controls he has to use and the hurdles he has to do a lap time. Now, okay, he's maybe nearer the back with certain championships, but being at the back of touring cars and the back or midfield in Clio is still drop him into any club championship and he'd be right at the front. He's at the top level of motorsport in the UK and he's not showing himself up. So you have to understand that he has disabilities that make things harder day to day than any of us. So, negative comments towards him are just naive and uneducated and not needed, because he sees them. He sees some of them, and he's got a strong mind and an even stronger physique just to race the contest. So fair play to him. Disability-wise, is the grief you get.
No, absolutely. Obviously, just the fan side looking in, some of the, as I say, some of the comments that come out are just dreadful, and there's no need for it, because let's face it, none of us could do any better from outside the race. So, 99% of the people that are making negative comments wouldn't be within seconds of Nick, for sure. So, I don't think I'll be within negative towards money way out and going to track day with him, because I guarantee you'll be under the table. Yeah, no man. I think I'd probably be a minute behind him around Brown Indy, so not even that kind of from there. Just something that's just come up. Obviously, someone saw the chat you had with your friend Paul O'Neill last week. He said, "It says I love how your dad. I love how you called your dad your hero this week. Made me think about how my own dad is my own hero." Now, obviously, we usually ask, who's your favourite driver of all time, and obviously anyone that tuned in last week will know the answer to that.
Yeah, for me, everyone, people do the Ayrton Senners and the Nigel Mansells and all this sort of stuff, Valentino Rossi's, and they're all drivers that I usually respect. Around dad's got a pencil drawing, brilliant, and in the house and stuff like that. For me, growing up, my heroes were close to home. When my dad won the championship, I was 10 years old. Now, imagine being a 10-year-old kid watching your dad stand on that step of the podium and winning a championship, and he's so respected in the house. I love about just as the years have gone on, he doesn't even know how many people recognize him or respect him, and even drivers now that only maybe raced with him for the season when they were youngsters and he was maybe the veteran of the championship, still say to him like, fair play, you're pretty good, and he still drives our racing cars now, and I said before, he's overweight, and I'm going to say that on every single guys that I ever do, we all need to tell him to stop. But he sets times that are competitive to this day, and for me, he's just the epitome of just a good guy that's talented and is well respected. So he's my hero as such. But my latest hero is Lando Norris, because his video stuff on the line is brilliant. So if I was going to put a current driver, I'd go for Lando. He's hilarious.
Someone actually just put up on the Instagram who's the second favourite. I think that's probably it. Yeah, you can't knock Lando. He's brilliant. He's good fun, isn't he? He's good fun, but he can back up the fun with what he does out on track.
Yeah. I think him and Dan Rick and all that kind of young guys are big avid Formula One fans and watch it with their wife or their husband or their brother or their sister and still enjoy Formula One because they're creating this kind of personality in the paddock. And those guys, and like you say, they can do the business out on track as well. So they banter off track and they banter on track as well, and it's brilliant to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Must admit, when went off the Brits, someone just asked if Josh and Creasy are going to be giving you some tips and hints, which is, I think, is what we're going to be doing to finish it.
Yeah, those two guys are fully behind me, and the aim of, I think, me and Creasy have got banter because obviously we're both going to be in the Jack Sears for next weekend. So my aim is I want to get him Jack Sears for next weekend. So my aim is no, they're good guys, and Creasy is he's kind of new championships, and he's learned hugely as well. Watching his on board or watching his, learning from his knowledge, essentially. Whereas Josh was just all round, actual natural talent from this championship, champion in the making, I think. So learning off those two is not a bad option. But I've also got a good friend, Tom Cole, down the road at Team Hard, and Jakey Hill, who we laugh about in the Think Kids, have made it to TOCA level racing. So yeah, there's a few lads around me that are going to help, probably right up until the point where we're jumping up cars and then it will go up and we'll be racing door to door with each other, hopefully.
Yeah, smashing. Yeah. Just seen someone just said that the sound went on there. Apparently the sound went, which is a bit annoying, but apparently, basically just saying that you're going to be learning off all the best guys, Creasy and Josh. So two of the best guys out there. Super. Just going to wind it down. So obviously we know you've got things to do this evening. So just a few little fun things at the end here. What's your favourite track you've driven and one that you'd love to drive?
So favourite track.
Let's think. I've done so there's obviously tracks I've raced at. So Knock Spa. There's something on there. I've got
an amazing memory of Barcelona, Catalunya,
where I raced there. I led 22.5 hours. I did when the sun came up. So I was 8 a.m.
or whatever time it was. I've done the sun's coming up, which is amazing. We did 22.5 hours until our teammate, who was the unfortunately blew to go. So we didn't classify as finished, but we led all through. So I've got brilliant memories of that circuit. One circuit I would love to do that I've never ever driven is Laguna Seca. Now, it's just the corkscrew bit, really, that I just want to try out. I've never been there, I've never driven it, but it's somewhere that I would always love to do, as well as Bathurst. That's that bowl of rides up, isn't it? You just bounce off the walls all the way down. So, those two circuits are probably ones to go to in the future.
Yeah, cool. I think I think Spa, Laguna Seca, and Bathurst are quite high on a lot of people's list we've spoken to, because they're just mega circuits. Again, I think the sound went in there. Some people typing, but the perils of being at a circuit, isn't it? Doing it live at the coalface. So again, I think we want to let you get on. We said about 40 minutes or so, which is what we're coming up to. Just to kind of, any superstitions that you've got before you go racing, or are you just to sort of get in and get on with it? And
I'm far too unorganised to have any superstitions, that's for sure. Honestly, I could have superstitions, but I'd forget them, or I'd forget. Say if you I have to put my certain boot on first, I'd just lose a boot or something. It just wouldn't be no good for me. So, no, not really any superstitions. I often think it's weird I don't stand on 3 drains in a row, and I'll walk around those in the street. I don't know why, I just don't like them. Won't walk with them. They're unlucky. As things go, I'm too unorganised. You should see my kit bag by the end of the race weekend. There's just stuff everywhere. Adam Morgan is a bit OCD and has all his clothes folded up, and he'll line them up in the order that he'll wear them. So obviously race 3 stuff's like right at the bottom, and he works his way. And I like to go in the truck whilst he's out on track and just throw his bag up in the air and throw everything around the truck, and then leave and wait for him to react back, because he goes to be
That's brilliant. That's definitely something. Yeah, I thought a couple of other drivers have tuned in for a little bit. So if any of them have heard that, they're going to be loving that. Excellent. Well, yes. Okay. Well, don't want to keep you too much longer, because obviously you've got to go off and do more important racing stuff. But thank you very, very much for coming on and having a chat. Very much appreciated, especially as you've been in demand. And very, very good luck for Silverstone when it comes around.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for offsetting by a week and having me on. Obviously, you got picked to the post last week with the big news, but you handled it brilliantly. We've managed to do a good Q&A. I've enjoyed every second of it, and see you all on TV at Silverstone in a week's time. Thank you very much, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Jade. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good luck.